Hi, I'm Ryan Daws, Senior Editor at TechForge Media, and with me today is Jay Migliaccio, who is the Senior Product Manager for IBM Watson Orchestrate. So Jay, can you tell me how IBM is helping businesses to improve the productivity of their workforces?
Yes, Ryan, thanks so much for the invite and asking us here. So IBM is expanding our suite of offerings in the area of digital labor. Digital labor leverages AI and automation to help workers become more productive. And much like human labor, digital labor performs work on business systems through skills, what we call skills. And digital labor skills enable digital labor to interact with business applications, much like you and I would interact with a system of record or system of engagement. We can do this now through digital labor. And what's new and unique is that digital labor leverages a human-centric interaction style. So we've introduced natural language, and we've also introduced intelligent orchestration to be able to execute not just single skills, but actually multiple skills to be able to achieve higher level tasks.
And of course, generative AI is a hot topic in the market at the moment. Do you see that being used practically in the workspace, and what risks should businesses be aware of?
Yeah, great question. It is quite interesting, generative AI, and as the name suggests, it generates content. I actually do use it myself in the workplace. I occasionally have to develop software tools and simple scripts, and I have actually had it generate a number of scripts for me successfully. So I'm impressed not just with its ability to generate verbiage and verbal content, written content, but also code content. So I for sure believe it will become increasingly useful in the workspace. Generative AI current available generative AI platforms have been trained on the internet. So remember, your results may vary. I know anytime I Google or search for things on the internet, I take the results with a grain of salt. I believe, though, the enterprises, as they go to look and adopt generative AI systems, they'll lean more towards AI that they can trust. And therefore, we need to work on being able to, create that trust element in the AI, the generative AI solutions.
And so what is the value of Watson Orchestrate for developers?
Yeah, great question. So let's remember, Watson Orchestrate is an automation tool. So when we talk about developers, I'm talking about automation developers, and that's by and large developers that are integrating apps and business systems to work together. For the most part, those developers have been integrating business systems to business systems. And now what we can do with Watson Orchestrate is we can introduce the human in the loop. And so these automation developers now have a platform where they can build and integrate their automation workflows, and they can bring a human experience into these automation workflows for everyday human workers. Watson Orchestrate provides a platform for creating human-centric workflow automation designed to interact with humans in our native communication style, which is, of course, spoken or written word.
How does Watson Orchestrate learn from user interactions?
There's a couple of ways Watson Orchestrate is monitoring the behavior of the humans and learning from them. Initially, and perhaps most important, is its ability to interpret the natural language through which the humans are communicating, right? Either today it's written word, but in the future spoken word. And Watson Orchestrate can not just do a pattern match based on existing known sentences, but it can actually understand the intent of those utterances. Additionally, it can extract entities from those utterances. So when you use proper nouns, for example, in a sentence, it can understand that's an entity that it would use as part of an automation. It can match the intent of the utterance to existing skills that it has, and it can react accordingly. It can understand the intent of the utterance and then take action on those skills. And increasingly, it can sequence multiple skills together. So there's a number of ways through it can respond to the natural language. Also, we are working on systems for empowering Watson Orchestrate to monitor the user's behavior. And just like any modern SaaS application today that has recommendations based on your behavior, we're working on recommendation engines to recommend to employees, how they can use Watson Orchestrate to be more productive in the future.
So talking about AI more generally, what new ways of working are today's AI advancements enabling?
Yeah, well, as I just alluded to, we're increasingly empowering systems to understand human natural language and to a much more complex and sophisticated extent. natural language interpretation has grown way beyond the basic pre-programmed bot experience. I'm sure everybody has had an experience on a website where there's a bot responding to your basic questions. What we're trying to do is make that bot much more intelligent. The current generation of digital labor can understand your intent, extract entities from your utterances, and most importantly, take action on your behalf.
And so on the flip side, what are some of the main dangers of automation tools and how do we overcome those?
I'm not sure if there's a specific category of danger, but I suppose I would put it under the law of unintended consequences. Anytime you work with technology, there can be outcomes that you don't expect. For example, if we think about automobile as an automation tool for moving humans around, the intent, of course, was to move a human from A to B faster and maybe more reliably. But the net result is occasionally we have accidents. So, much in the way we build transportation systems to, constrain and reduce the potential for accidents, we have to do the same thing in our business systems with digital labor. For example, certainly we're going to want to start small and just do very select and very specific tasks that are well curated and well defined. We'll need to create guardrails that guard against the unintended and unexpected behavior. One of the ways we're doing this in Watson Orchestrate is to empower the digital labor to act on the user's behalf and therefore leverage the user's credentials when interacting with business systems. So me as an employee, I'm given a certain access to a business system based on my role, and therefore we know when the digital employee, the digital laborer, performs actions on my behalf, it also has those existing restrictions and permissions into those business systems. Another option is monitoring behavior and monitoring for, of course, unintended consequences. And lastly, creating governance and creating policies that permit or restrict, the behavior of the digital employees and the digital labor.
Are you a believer in the metaverse? And if so, how much work do you think that we'll be doing in it?
Yeah, great question. Metaverse for me is a very loose term. Here we are, digitally speaking. We've never met before. You could be an avatar for all I know. So in that sense, I'm a believer in the metaverse. I don't know that for me, like most innovative technologies, it will start on the fringe and it will work its way into the mainstream. And fringes today are, you can look at entertainment and gaming and see very much metaverse-like experiences being used there. You can also see, I've seen examples of metaverse being used for, deep meditative experiences. If you want to go into a deep meditation, you can put on your virtual headsets and you enter a world that you don't, that's a metaverse world that, of course, is very different than the physical world we live in. And I also can see metaverse being initially used for education purposes. I think it's a great way, a sort of a low risk way to introduce people to new environments and new ideas at scale. But I don't think it's something like going to the office, right? I don't think we're going to go to the metaverse to go to work. I don't see that as something coming in the near term.
Okay. I can only promise I'm not Avatar for the time being. But I might bump into you at Digital Transformation Week next week. So you'll obviously be in attendance. What will you be sharing with the audience at the event?
Yeah, at the Digital Transformation Week, I will be talking about our view on the digital labor market and some of our solutions, and also be sharing some of the stories about the early adopters of IBM's digital labor solutions.